so fresh, looking so fresh. When I walk by, breaking their necks. Waiting in line at the team store. Now I'm feeling fly like a condor. Eyes on me when I walk through the door. Man, I wish I bought a couple more. Cause I really love my city. It was worth every penny. If it were at my show, then I know they gon' tip me. Think I might add a couple patches. If you think it's ugly, you capping. Now my whole outfit matching. Never going out of fashion.
All right, Padres, they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers at home here at Petco. Lost the first game, lost the third game, won the middle game in this series. Today sucked. Yeah, there were some opportunities and some very bad, in my opinion, some very bad swing decisions. We'll get into that. If you're joining here live, thank you so much for the time. If you're listening on the podcast platforms or watching on YouTube, on replay, thank you as well. This was an anticipated series, Padres Dodgers, obviously, that's the best rivalry in baseball right now. I don't think it's close. Maybe there's other fan bases that are teams of those fan bases, and so they'll advocate for that. But just these games, it seems like they almost always live up to the hype. Yesterday, obviously, there was the blowout, and there was still a lot of stuff to talk about, though, coming off of yesterday's game. So it was a filled series, if you will, entertainment filled for sure. This one was pretty close, but the Padres, they do fall 5-2. I'm pretty sure the big moment that everybody is going to be talking about from this game, if you had to only talk about, one inning, one moment, it would be that 7th inning where the Dodgers literally could not find the strike zone. And when I mean the Dodgers, I mean Michael Kopech couldn't find the strike zone. I thought it was funny because Dave Roberts was saying, like, I'm not going to use Kopech last night in a 5-0 game. He wants to, save Michael Kopech for today. And then what happens today? He walks 3 guys, cannot find the strike zone. That was dangerous. He did not know where he was throwing the baseball. He didn't know where it was going to go. And so you have that opportunity right there handed to you. And it's not like and no disrespect to these guys, but it's not like you got the bottom of the order up. No, you've got Luis Ariz and Manny Machado up at the plate. Manny, obviously, like your best hitter right now, and you got Luis Ariz, someone that, is the hit machine, right? But when someone can't throw strikes, okay, he's out of the game. The next guy comes in, which was Anthony Banda. You have not seen him throw a strike yet. And I believe it was a 1-0 pitch. Luis Ariz pops out on a pitch that was inside. And again, he hadn't seen Banda throw a single strike yet, and he swings at that pitch. So not only in game 1 of this series did he swing when Tatis had second base stolen, and that would have set up possibly the game-winning run. It would have set him up, the game-winning run on second base. But now today, he swings at that pitch. And it's like, you just had 3 free passes. This guy hasn't thrown a strike to you, and you're swinging. There's so many statue takes that we've seen from Luis Ariz. So many takes. Because he's comfortable being behind in the count. Like, he knows that he's a great hitter. So get your pitch to hit. Don't swing at a pitch that's inside like that. So he pops up to Freddie. Then Manny comes up, and it's a 3-0 count. There are some people that I saw on social media that were like, nope, Manny always gets the green light. Like, he's my guy. He gets the green light. In probably most circumstances, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But when I have the bases loaded and it's a 3-0 count and the previous to Ariz, that pitch that Ariz swung at, it's not like that was right down the middle. And then it was a ball before that. So it's not like this guy is consistently pounding the strike zone and finding the middle of the strike zone. And Manny decides to swing. That was a better pitch to swing at than Ariz, but Manny swings at that and grounds out to Mookie. Great play by Mookie, by the way. Like, it's not like it was an easy ground ball. But for me, like, know the situation. I think of Luis Ariz and Manny Machado as smart baseball players, especially Manny, like really smart. I don't think that was the smartest. I don't have the talent of Manny Machado, obviously, but if I was sitting there in the box, no, I'm not swinging at 3-0 when this guy isn't pounding the strike zone. And there were 3 walks. I know it's not the same guy, but 3 walks earlier in the inning. It's just, to me, it's common sense. Make him throw you strikes before you swing. And the Padres were down 4-2 at that time, and it only got worse, and they lost, obviously, 5-2. There was obviously pitching mistakes as well, like Jeremiah Estrada, just a meatball to Michael Conforto. You go ask Dodger fans, they would want Michael Conforto probably off their team and not getting at bats, because I think he was hitting under 200. Not a good season for him, and he homers. Great catch by that Dodger fan, by the way. Awesome job. Not. But yeah, just that was frustrating. Losing the first game when there could have been some better decisions there. 8, 7, and 10 innings. Losing today. If Ariz would have watched pitches, right, and he would have swung at a better pitch, would he have gotten a hit? Who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have, and the Padres still would have lost. Same thing with Manny. Maybe the Padres still would have lost. Maybe a guy walks, and that brings in a run, and they still lose by 1, or they lose by 2, But to me, it was just common sense to extend those at-bats when the pitcher is not pounding the strike zone. But, that's something that we learned in Little League, and I guess that didn't apply today. Frustrating. Really frustrating. Randy Vasquez, give props to him. 4 2/3 innings, 1 earned run. I know it was a low pitch count. He had, 70 pitches, and obviously a majority of those were strikes. Like, he did a great job against this Dodgers lineup today. Did give up that 1 home run, but that was it. They did not want Randy to face the Dodgers lineup a third time. We know the Dodgers lineup is very talented, and just against any lineup, Randy Vasquez, not great. Opposing hitters are like over 300, 350, I think, against Randy third time around. So I was totally fine with that. There were questionable things there with, going to Jeremiah Estrada when Morejon was, I thought, pitching well. And then, Estrada ends up giving up a couple of runs there, that Conforto homer. But I'm not complaining too much about that. Like, I understand why that move was made. It was about matchups. There was 1 out in the inning when they went to Estrada, and there were 2 righties up. And so you take your chances there to go with Estrada over Morejon, playing the matchups like Schultz done all season, and it didn't work out. But, Estrada, even after today, still has a 2.61 ERA. Morejon's at sub 3. I'm not going to freak out over this, over Jeremiah Estrada today. Jason Adam won an inning, no runs. It was interesting. I will say this. It was interesting, the Dodgers today. They, during the series, or going into the series, there was a starter named, like an actual starting pitcher. I've never heard of this guy, so I don't even remember his name off the top of my head, but he did not end up pitching in this game, because I would have, I know the last name if I see it, but I don't remember it right off the top of my head. But they ended up going with Ben Kasparius, who actually pitched better than I thought he was going to. He pitched longer than I thought he was going to. He ends up going 4 innings. Then Lou Trevino came in again. But it was just like, all right, so you had 1 starter, and then you change it up. It just felt like going into this game, like, oh, okay, they're treating this, differently than a lot of other matchups that they would face, other teams in baseball. I don't think what Sammy Levitt tweeted today, I don't think that's how like the situation played out. Let me go back to that tweet. He said, that's who it was, Justin Robleski. Sammy Levitt tweeted, Ben Kasparis to start for the Dodgers today. Justin Robleski are expected to get bulk innings, but Justin Robleski didn't end up even pitching. So maybe there was an injury or something. But when I saw that tweet, I was like, Doc treating this like it's a postseason game. And a lot of dummy Dodger fans out there saw that as if I was saying that these pitchers would be pitching in a postseason game. And that's not what I meant. What I meant, and I don't care like what they thought of that tweet. Like I really don't care what they think. Like seriously. I have a bunch of people muted anyway. I don't care. But what I meant, just to explain that, is you're having, like, if this was actually going to happen, where let's say Robleski would have gotten, the bulk innings. Oh, you're putting a reliever out there to face the top of the order, and then you're bringing someone in who would be your starter, but you're not actually starting him. Like, that's something that you do in the postseason because you're trying, like, every single out matters a lot. And you don't, like, if you can avoid that starting pitcher pitching, against those top hitters, if you have like a better reliever matchup, the first inning still counts the same as the seventh inning. So just do it then, you know? So that's really all I was saying. But anyway, just shocker, Dodger fans not understanding. Whatever. Overall, again, disappointed. Crowd showed up, on a Wednesday afternoon to get 45,481. Yeah, I know there were some Dodger fans, but like this has happened for the Padres all season long. They've gotten sellouts upon sellouts upon sellouts. So this is not I know Dodger fans, they love, they think that they're like God's gift to this world. But they're not. Padre fans show up even when they're not playing the Dodgers. They show up when they're facing the Marlins. We show up. That's just what it is. But still, great attendance all the way around. Maybe there were fights, but I didn't see them on social media, so that's good news. Hopefully things were kept pretty, as chill as you can in a Padre Dodger series. But overall, like, the takeaway I have here is the Padres, they're not going to beat the Dodgers in the postseason if they play like this. If you make these decisions that were made in this series, if you don't play smart baseball and then you have Dodgers players coming back, like, let's remember, there's a lot of Dodger pitchers that are not healthy right now, and they will be coming back. Who knows if they'll be available in October? Padres pitchers, Darvish, King, Musgrove, I don't want to count on, but I also don't want to count him out totally. We'll have guys coming back too. So we'll see what happens. But like, regardless of who is playing, if the Padres don't make smart decisions, if they try to play hero ball too much, like we saw in this series a little bit, then you're not going to beat the Dodgers. You have to capitalize on their mistakes. If you've got them not being able to throw consistent strikes, read the game, like, make better decisions. Got to make the defensive plays. Obviously, the mistakes right down the middle. Great teams like the Dodgers, they're going to capitalize on that. And we saw that multiple times in this series, whether it was hanging breaking balls from Pivetta or it was, fastball right down the middle to, what was it? Either Teoscar or Conforto today. Like, yeah, they're going to make you pay. The Padres need to make the Dodgers pay, when that happens, when they get those opportunities. So it's one series, it's 3 games. Both teams are not fully armed, if you will. But like the Dodgers, they're the better team right now. I know if Mike Schilt was talking to me right now, he'd be like, well, you could say they're the better team, but it's very close. We're right there. And you can make that argument that the Padres are right there, but the reality is the Padres had opportunities to win this series, and they didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And they made some dumb decisions, in my opinion. And there you go. They lose 2 out of 3. So going into this series, I believe they were a game back of the Dodgers. And I know it's June, so like, why are we talking about the standings? But it's something that, was interesting going in. Like, the Dodgers hadn't played the Padres yet, and things were that close. Now, the Padres are 2 games back after this series now. 2 games back of the Dodgers, the Giants 39-28. They've gotten to play the freaking Rockies, so they should be where they're at. And the Padres coming up now, they will go to Arizona to face off against the D-backs. The Dodgers will face the Giants. And then they come back and face one another again, not in San Diego, but up in LA. Surely there won't be any fights there. If you missed my game reactions for games 1 and 2, you can catch that on YouTube or on the podcast platforms. But quickly here on these 2 games, I will get to the chat, obviously. First game, losing in extra innings. Again, Padres, they had those opportunities. They had that opportunity there in that 9th inning where Luis Ariz, instead of watching and Tatis takes second base, which he would have, he ends up swinging and flying out to end the inning. And something that Ben Higgins pointed out on Ben and Woods, I think probably Tuesday morning, which I agreed, I love that point, was not just the fly out, but also if Tatis would have gotten thrown out, or excuse me, if Tatis, let's say he takes second base. No, wait. It would have been, it would have been, let's say Tatis, you let him attempt to steal second base. Tatis gets thrown out at second base. He's the automatic runner in extra innings, not Luis Ariz. Ariz would be up at the plate with nobody out. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have what, happened, where Ariz swings? And I know hit and runs with Ariz, Tatis stealing, and he has scored earlier this season. It has happened. It has worked. But the odds of that working, and when you have an opportunity to go win that game right there, and you have Tatis getting that jump, and I think he would have made it. To me, again, it just was Luis Ariz not understanding the situation good enough. Maybe he understood it going in, and Ariz is smart as well. Like, I've seen clips, and obviously when you're that great of a hitter, contact hitter and all that, like, yeah, I know he knows what he's doing, but maybe there was something going on in his head, or he wasn't thinking straight in these situations. Because, I know he's a swinger. Like, pitches outside the zone, he swings at, and he puts them in play, and he can help you win games by hitting balls that are outside the strike zone even sometimes. Actually, a lot of the time, he's a bad ball hitter. But here, it's just like, man, you take a lot of pitches all the time. You do these statue takes. Why couldn't you do it in that situation? Why couldn't you do it today, where the guy has not thrown you a strike yet? Would that have been called a strike? Probably, but that's not your pitch to hit there in that situation. A 94 inside, like, what are you going to do with that? So just frustrating. It was frustrating, Luis Ariz. I think some Padres fans have overreacted to Luis Ariz this season. But I don't think you're overreacting if you're pissed off about, Luis Ariz in these big situations in this series, if that makes sense. Nick Pivetta, I don't want to make it just about the offense. Nick Pivetta should have been better on Monday. Breaking balls left over the plate, just didn't totally have it, but I'm not worried about him. Dylan Cease, that was encouraging in game 2. Him bouncing back, 7 innings, no runs, 11 strikeouts. He walked 3 guys in an inning, but was able to get out of it, so that's a positive. But you do that too many times, and you're not going to be able to get out of all of those. So let's hope that does not continue with him. But you hope that the longer outings going at least 6 innings, at least. You hope for 7, but at least go 6, because so far this season, there's been too many outings where Cease has been taken out in the 5th inning, for example. And it's just like, you wonder why the bullpen is compromised in some situations. It's already bad enough that you have the Darvish and King injuries, and then the guy that you want to, like the one of the big guys you acquired to be an ace and to go, 6, 7 innings every time out. And that's the expectation, to have these quality starts. For him not to be doing that, that just puts more stress on these relievers and on this bullpen. So I don't want to get too high, to be quite honest, on this Dylan Cease outing. I know it was against a good team, but let's see him do this again and again and again. Because I was at a point where I wasn't worried about Dylan Cease, and then he wasn't able to provide that length. So there was a span of 3 starts, I want to say, where it was like, all right, I'm seeing progress here. He is maybe, getting back to being more of the consistent Dylan Cease. Length. The Yankees, Angels, and Blue Jays game. 6 2/3, 1 run. 6 2/3, 2 runs. 7 innings, 3 runs. Then after that, he went 5 innings and 4 2/3 innings and 5 innings. And it's like, all right, take some steps forward, but then you just take steps right back. So something to keep an eye on, obviously, what happens there. But yesterday, with the offense, Merrill coming through, Manny obviously coming through, a lot of guys coming through. Maldonado even with a homer. Not that you're expecting that. You can't go into any game expecting a Maldonado homer, but you'll take it. It was great that they blew the Dodgers out. And not just because it's the Dodgers, but the situation. The bullpen has been worked a lot. So giving them that day off, essentially, I know David Morgan pitched, but essentially giving them that day off, that was huge. I wish it would have been huger, if that's a word, because now there's a day off anyway. But I was hoping it would have been huge for today so that, Robert Suarez would have pitched. I know Adam pitched, but all the big guys would have pitched. Got 2 of the 3, not the third, unfortunately. But he'll obviously be ready to go for that D-back series. I thought, I already gave my thoughts on this in my reaction yesterday, but Dave Roberts going to Kike Hernandez in the 6th inning and him essentially punting, not essentially, he did punt that early in a 5-0 game. And I know that they've dealt with a lot of injuries on the pitching side, but that's also sending the message that you don't believe in your offense. And this offense is very talented. They can score 5 runs. Now, as a Padres fan, I loved it because, you're going to take it. Of course, it's a win. But to have a guy go out there and throw 111 pitches, just, I think he probably was sent to Oklahoma City today. Let me double check that. Dodgers transactions. No, he's still up. Okay. I'm not seeing that they optioned him, but they called him up for that game yesterday. And now, when's the next time that he's going to pitch? Right? I don't know exactly what he said to the media, but I assume he's not going to be very happy, Matt Sauer, that he had to go 111 pitches just to save the bullpen. You couldn't have one other arm. And your manager had you go that long just so he could get to Kike Hernandez in the 6th inning. That's a little too much, in my opinion. And I know there's Dodger fans that do agree because I've seen it, that they agreed with it. So, yeah. I'm glad they didn't get swept, but it was frustrating. It kind of reminds you of the not coming through, in the postseason last year. Although I'm not going to sit here and act like I remember every single at bat, but obviously recent here, some better selections could have been made, and they weren't. And so there you go. Padres dropped 2 out of 3. I did want to get to the Jason Hayward injury update. He's going to start a rehab assignment on Friday. Maybe some Padres fans forgot that Jason Hayward was on the team, and I kind of don't blame you. He may have been, and I agree. Kevin said this as well. Kevin Acey. Hayward, he may not even be on the team if he was still healthy, because that would have been more time for him to not be performing the way that the Padres want, need offensively. But yeah, starting a rehab assignment on Friday in El Paso. Hayward's been out since May 24th with a left oblique strain. It has been written many times here that the Padres value what Hayward brings off the field, but that they are prepared to move on if what he does on the field does not pick up soon. Hayward's batting 172, might have already been let go had he not gone on the injured list. So there's the injury update there on him. The Michael King injury update essentially is they're still waiting. Let me try to find that as well. They're essentially just still waiting. Darvish is throwing a little bit more intense, but seems like he's still a ways away, so I'm not even going to think about a timeline still, really, for him. Was the Michael King update before game 1? I think so. Yeah, Dennis Lynn here. Mike Schultz said Michael King is still resting and, along with the Padres medical staff, still gathering info about his injury. This was in Atlanta, okay? He didn't sleep well, messed up his shoulder in Atlanta. That was May 23rd. That was 2.5 weeks ago, and they're still gathering information about this. We're just in a holding pattern to see what it is and the best way to treat it, if there is a better way to treat it outside of just rest. What the heck does that mean? Surgery? Like, I think Padre fans' minds, go to the worst spot when we see that. So, not encouraging. Not encouraging. Look for the Padres to be adding starting pitching, even if these guys are healthy, because you can never have enough. But definitely, for sure, look for AJ to be adding starting pitching before the trade deadline. I believe end of July. So those are the injury updates that we have. Before getting to the chat, I did want to shout out the great sponsors of this show, Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. Check them out. Link in the description. Their full menu is at that Friars Road location. And then they're at Petco Park, section 124 and then 319. So down the third baseline and upper deck. There they've got cheesesteak fries, cheesesteaks, garlic fries. Those are the main staples there. And there's usually long lines down the third baseline because it's so good. So I recommend you getting there like during BP, or you can try the upper deck one, or wait in line. It is worth it. It is worth it. And in my opinion, it's not that expensive, to be honest. It's under $20 and you get a lot. So check them out. Freestyle Cut and Stitch. They are a San Diego, a local basketball custom jersey brand. You've seen a lot of Padres players wear it. Jackson Merrill, Tyler Wade, Kim and Profar from years past, Manny, Nick Martinez, Steven Wilson, CJ Abrams. I saw that CJ Abrams just got his Nats teammates hooked up. Him and Mackenzie Gore got their Nats teammates hooked up with this from this company that did that. So go check them out, freestylecutandstitch.com. If you're not, a Padres jersey person, or you don't have the money for, a $200 Padre jersey or however much, it costs at the Padres store, check out Freestyle Cut and Stitch. If you're a big Jackson Merrill fan, you can get a Jackson Merrill, and maybe you're a fan of the 1998 style basketball jersey. And it shows off your personality. So I definitely recommend them. You can check them out on Instagram as well. Freestyle Cut and Stitch on Instagram. You'll see a bunch of Padres players wearing their stuff. And, there's other sports as well. And if you have a different idea, reach out to them and they'll do their best to accommodate you there. So, and by the way, code Talking Friars and this is for any future order at Freestyle Cut and Stitch. You will get 10% off any future order. So please use that to your advantage, trying to help you out there. If you're more of a shirt person, you can check out Breaking Tea. Click the link in the description there. They've got Padres and Aztecs shirts and sweatshirts. A lot of new designs. They have designs that come out pretty darn frequently. I know that there's been Tatis, Merrill, Gavin Sheets, Manny, new designs this year. So please check them out. Link in the description there. I believe they have a 15% off sale going on surrounding the College Baseball World Series coming up. So, do some research on that. Maybe you'll find a code there. Just trying to help you out. They didn't send that to me, but I did see that that was happening. So I did want to float that out there for you. And then same code that the code is for Freestyle Cut and Stitch. Same code for SeatGeek. $20 off your first order when you sign up with your email. Code Talking for Hours. All right. I'm going to go to the super chats first. If you want priority, please use that super chat. Much appreciated. It seems like my mic's working because I'm not seeing a bunch of comments today that my mic is not working. So that's great. Before I get to the super chats, I did want to check social media real quick to see if there's any updates or anything that I missed. Nope. Okay. All right. Albert here with the super chat. Why is Fernando still leading off? His batting average sucks and his OPS is just as terrible. Okay, so what I would say there is, who are you going to put lead off instead of Fernando? Luis Ariz? Well, would you like to have speed on the bases? If you want that hit and run, Tatis is that guy to be the runner. With Ariz, not so much. So my question is, where are you hitting him? If you're saying his batting average and OPS is terrible, well, he's good. Like newsflash, he's going to be hitting first, second, or third. That's where he's going to be hitting. He's not going to be hitting somewhere else. So if you don't want him to lead off, then you want him to hit second. You want him to hit third, but his OPS sucks. That's what you're saying. So, like Schilt, I think he would have already changed it if he was going to change it. Do you want the OPS to be higher than 796? Of course. Same thing with Ariz, especially when Ariz is known for his batting average, you want the batting average to be higher than 278. But it's kind of like these are your guys, you're going to win with these guys or you're going to lose with them. So where else do you want these guys to be? So I would say he's still leading off because Schilt knows that this is Fernando Tatis Jr. that we're talking about. And this is the same guy that Padres fans were clamoring to continue to lead off and stay in the leadoff spot because of how great he was earlier this season in that leadoff spot. So, yeah. JD's third with the super chat. Ben, have you watched the Mookie Betts Jackson Merrill interview? It was good, and they covered a lot about both teams and players. Talked the rivalry too. No, I have not. I did see on social media that Merrill did sit down with Mookie, and it seems like that was in San Diego, probably maybe like before game one of the series. But I'm pretty sure that was like live on the Bleacher Report app, and then it gets uploaded later on YouTube. And so I have not went to go watch that yet. But now that you remind me to do that, I will be doing that probably later today. So let me actually look that up right now, just to put that in my watch later. Yep. Okay. It was uploaded late. It was uploaded earlier today. I don't watch the Mookie or listen to the Mookie podcast unless it's Padre players. So, yeah, I don't need to be listening to a Dodger player talk. But thank you for alerting me of that. So, no, I have not watched it. JD's third with another super chat says, today was their real bullpen game. Last night wasn't. That's true. Yeah. Because last night, when you're going to ride that guy out for 111 pitches, that's not a real bullpen game. Where today, it didn't seem like it was going to be a bullpen game from like what media was saying before the game. It was like, this guy's going to pitch probably one inning, and then you go to I've already forgotten whoever that dude's name was. Maybe I'll find it here. But yeah, like what really happened today was the bullpen game. Justin Robleski, that's the guy's name. He didn't end up even pitching. So I assume there was some sort of injury. But yeah, today they ended up going with 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 pitchers. 8 pitch, like this is crazy. Think about this. They went 8 pitchers and one of them pitched 4 innings. Usually that doesn't happen. If you're going to go 8 pitchers, then it's like, okay, someone covered the first 2 maybe, and then they went with an inning each for everybody else. But to have 8 reliever, I mean, that's talk about some real matchups. And obviously, Kopech not being able to, you know, throw strikes, that obviously contributes to it as well to, immediately go to Banda there. But usually you don't see that. But I think part of that shows how tough the Padres lineup is in the perspective of Dave Roberts and the Dodgers, that they have to go to that many relievers to get the job done. But it doesn't matter how you do it. I mean, they got the job done. So you do have to give credit where it's due, unfortunately. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, we got some Dodger fans in here. Shocker. So, should Robert still be embarrassed? Yes, he should be embarrassed for what he did yesterday. Yes. So Dave should have burned his good arms in a guaranteed loss, right? Say it. That's not what I'm saying. His good arms didn't have to pitch in a game down 5-0. Just someone other than one guy going 111 pitches. Maybe that. The UPS boys got owned again. Okay. That's what we're calling the Padres now? Jay says there's no rivalry. Dodgers own the Padres. Well, that's not what your manager says. What happened to Tatis, Padres MVP? He's struggling right now, for sure. What are the splits on Tatis? I'm going on Baseball Reference, so this is going to be entering today's game, but you'll still get the idea. So in June so far, 40 plate appearances, 32 at bats, 9 games. He's hitting .219 with a 625 OPS. I think when Tatis isn't going well, like he's chasing more. I mean, I know that's the case for Jackson Merrill. Like the stats show that. Kevin Acey has written about that in his Padres Daily. So, yeah, probably chasing. Yeah, Dodger fans are here, but it isn't a rivalry, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny. Dodger fans, some of them say, "Oh, rent free," in Padres fans' heads, and it's like, no, that's the other way around, because I'm not asking for Dodger fans to be here. When the Dodgers aren't even playing the Padres, Dodger fans show up. I'm sorry, I don't watch any Dodger fan show anyway, because why would I want to spend time watching a team show that I don't like? But anyway, when the Dodgers are playing the D-backs, let's say, or whoever, I'm not showing up in a Dodger show to comment. I'm not even showing up to watch. So, and I know I'm one person, but like, I don't think this happens Padre fans to Dodgers shows in Dodger communities. I think that's the other way around. I know on social media it could be a little bit different. Like, sure, Padres fans stir it up. Dodger fans love to as well. So it goes both ways. But yeah, this is I mean, thanks. Like it gets views, there's comments, like thank you. But yeah, it is kind of it's funny seeing these. The run differential this series, the Padres were plus like 6, I think, weren't they? Which run differential that proves that run differential is not everything for sure, right? But yeah, let me double check that actually. Because today, -3 for the Padres, but then +7. Yeah, it was +6 because they lost by 1 in game 1. +6 for the Padres. So, yeah, I wouldn't say they were cooked. Yeah, I'm seeing frustrations about the Padres offense. We have no offense, stuff like that. Look, I know Manny's like the one guy, right, who's producing big. Um, I think it's not smart to think that Tatis isn't going to turn it around. Same thing with Jackson Merrill. I'd be shocked if this is like a Corbin Carroll sophomore season. Um, Luis Ariz, that's a curious case. I think some of these balls will find holes, but this is who he is. But at the same time, it's like, can you be a little bit smarter with your swing selection and just see how that would work out? I didn't he say before the season that he was trying to walk more, that he was going to walk more? Has that actually happened? I don't think it has. I'm sure Fangraphs has the walk rate. It's got to, right? Luis Ariz. And this would be entering today as well. Okay, so 2024, 3.6%. This year, it's 4.6%. So 1% difference. Uh, I would think that he's trying, when he said walk more, like it would be more of a difference than that. So, yeah, not great. Arise, like, it's fun to watch him hit when it's working, but it's frustrating when it's not. Victor says, thank you for the super chat. We were in all 3 games, 10 more to go against them. Yeah, that's a way to put it. Dominated. The Dodgers didn't dominate any of these games. The Padres did. Um, and the Padres, yeah, they were right there in the other 2. So if you're Mike Schilt, that's probably the thing that you're harping on in the post game media or whatever, and the thing that you're harping on to coaching staff and just to be positive is like, we were there, we had the opportunities, we'll come through next time. Blew them out in game 2. We still have Darvish and King possibly coming back. Like, I know the Dodgers totally can say like we have 14 guys coming back or whatever they have going on. But yes, you can be positive. You can find some positives in this series, but it's a results-based business, and at the end of the day, it's a loss. They dropped 2 out of 3. It wasn't a great series. I'm hoping Tatis is really going to get going at Dodger Stadium. Wouldn't that be nice to have him hit another 5 homers in 3 games? Albert asked, why are there lies saying Darvish is coming back? I don't think there are a lot. I mean, it's the Padres being optimistic, and I'd be surprised if Darvish doesn't come back because it does seem like he is making progress, but they are going very slow with it, which they should, right? Like, you're not winning a world, in my opinion, you're not winning a World Series, you're not going to a World Series if you don't have Darvish pitching well. You need him healthy. Oh, Carlos, Dodgers fan. Thank you for the super chat. But he says, "We like to laugh at you losers." All right. Well, hopefully you're enjoying it. How many RBIs does Fernando have? Good question. 28. Yikes. I thought he'd have more than that. Ben, is the Padres' window of opportunity closing? I think that's a little bit extreme to say that. I mean, what I would say is like we know what the window. We've known what the window is. I feel like who knows when DeVries comes up and Boston Bateman and these other guys like the future there when these vets are like really vets. But the window that I'm talking about is obviously like Manny. Got to throw Xander in there. These guys like being in their primes. Um, sure, the window is closing, but you could say that about every other team that has a veteran star like that, right? Or has veteran stars like that. Um, it seems like now we don't know what's going to happen in the future. It seems like last year was their best chance to win, and that they didn't do it that year. Last year, it's hard to fully believe that they're going to do it, like because they didn't do it last year with that chance they had, and where they had the Dodgers, and all that, right? The bullpen they had, right, and that just yeah, that was. It seemed like that was their best shot. But we don't know what's going to happen later this year. We don't know who's going to catch fire. We don't know other injuries that are going to happen around the league, or guys slumping, or other teams' acquisitions, Padres acquisitions, how they're going to play in the second half. Like, let's remember, every team Mike Schill has managed in the big leagues, like they are second half teams. They're like the best second half team in baseball. That's what Mike Schill teams are. So that still is to come. So that's what I'll say on that is like it seems like their best opportunity has passed, but that doesn't mean that they could still have a good opportunity. I feel like it was a great opportunity and now it could be a good opportunity, if that makes sense. Um, obviously the Padres are my team. Like I'm gonna root for them obviously every night, but I'm just giving you I feel like the realistic view on that. But Preller, we thought some windows were closing, and then the window swung back open again from moves that he makes. So you really never know. Carlos says JD's third is the realest Padres fan. I do appreciate his support for sure. There's a lot of great Padres fans. Albert asked Ben, who would you have lead off? Tatis. I'm fine with it. Like, who else? Are you going to put Xander up there? You're going to put Crony up there leading off? Um, I forget who proposed that, but I think someone proposed that on the radio this week. Are you going to do that? I mean, maybe it wouldn't hurt to try it, and you have a rise just further down. Not you don't even have a rise in the top 4, top 5. Put him down further in the order. But are you going to lose him if you do that? Is that something you're willing to commit to, not just for one game, but for weeks and weeks to see if it actually works? Because to see if it actually works, you can't just do it for one game and it worked. Oh, okay. It doesn't work. Oh, it didn't work. All right, we got to change it again. You probably got to commit to it. Like Mike Schilt, this is his lineup. These are his guys. He could change it. There's reasons to change it, like, well before this, and it hasn't changed. So I think it's going to be the same. I'm I'm fine with Tatis. Like they're going to win with Tatis or they're going to lose with Tatis, and not just Tatis, but the other big guys too. This is the team. This is the core of the team. So they've got to perform. Okay, that Mookie interview was before game 2. I'm pretty sure fans are going to be more okay with that interview than they were with the Tatis one last year, just because of the timing. Like the Tatis one last year, that was as they were fighting for the division in like the last week of the season. I wasn't a big fan of that, but they're able to separate it. Obviously, like you don't hate someone off the field, 24/7. I know as fans we don't like anything with have to do with the Dodgers, but that's not how all players operate. Just going through these last ones here. Kenny asked, "Do you know the latest on if MLB will be doing the ABS system next year?" I think they will. I thought I saw or heard that MLB is proposing it, and they have enough people on their side to approve pretty much anything that they want. So I think it is coming next year. Long Duck Dong says, Dodger fan here, always fun series when we play. Yeah, it is a fun series. It sucks when, Teoscar hits a 3-run bomb, but yeah, I get like it's really easy to wake up in the morning and get going when it's Padres Dodgers later that night. It gets you going. It's exciting. So it'll happen again next week. It's kind of weird that these games are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and not on the weekend. You think that maybe Major League Baseball would want to capitalize on being on the weekend and have them on national TV and not just on Padres TV, for example, for 3 games. But it is what it is. I love the cam, and then there was the Cease interview after his start last night. Schilt, I think, during the game. It seems like they're adding some things. Maybe they're experimenting to see if they can add it throughout broadcasts throughout baseball that are owned by Major League Baseball, or maybe it was just because it was Padres Dodgers and they knew that a lot of people would be watching. So let's upgrade the broadcast. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. The Manny him getting in the umpire's face was hilarious. That was the best cam I think we've seen. So I think it's going to do it for this episode of Talking Friars. We got Padres and the D-backs coming up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, off day Thursday. Kolek will be on Friday, 6:40 on Apple TV Plus. Saturdays on Fox. That's going to be Ryan Bergert at 4:15. Zach Gallen pitching for the D-backs that day. Merrill Kelly will pitch on Sunday. Nick Pivetta for the Pods Sunday at 1:10 on Padres TV. And then they are back playing the Dodgers, this time at Dodger Stadium on Monday at 7:10, Tuesday 7:10, Wednesday 7:10. And then Thursday, it's a 4-game series. Interesting that the Dodgers get the 4 games. All right. That'll do it. Talk to y'all later. Thank you so much for the support. Have a great night.